Pace car is already going to make that left. We are ready for 600 miles, 400 laps here from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's Hickson, Baugh, and Miller, your front row on the grid, ready to take the green flag. We're underway for the Abillion Wood Projects 600.
And just like that, Bryson Hicksonbaugh getting one of those classic high side restarts as he is getting out to an immediate 3-car lead right ahead of Robert Miller. And so far, everything getting single file pretty quickly. Jonathan Delaney making a move early on Brian Branham. He's going to move up into P4. Jonathan Delaney rocking a bit of a throwback. We've had throwbacks for the last 3 weeks, it seems. Of course, a lot of the paint schemes in this race patriotic schemes. It is Memorial Day weekend. The schemes are a bit of a thank you to those who serve. And this patriotic scheme, the number 9, is one ran by Michael Waltrip. And being the driver for a team owner who is, whoa, look at that. We got issues early and no caution.
That's one car. That is Cody Bird in the 13 machine. He went hard into the pit road barrels and no yellow by race control, so we stay green. Although big damage there on the hood of his Chevrolet Camaro. As you watch, though, all the way up front, there is a dead heat battle for the race lead. Bryson Hicksonbaugh, who led this field to start, is already getting put under pressure within the first handful of laps. I assume, Andre, here, you don't really want to be pressured here when you know there's 400 laps and there's still a very long way to go. But there goes Robert Miller to the inside. He'll take the race lead. Our first lead change on the night so far.
Well, patience is a virtue, especially in longer races like this, but leading the race never hurt anybody either. So Robert Miller saw an opportunity to try and get around Bryson, and he took it, and he seems to be absolutely running away, but he is back up to a 4-car length lead. But we do got a replay. We're going to take a look at exactly what happened with Cody Bird on the top right of our 3-wide TV multi-cam. You see that 13 car just getting a little bit high in that upper groove towards the outside wall, and then the car kicks out on him, just narrowly avoiding the car behind, but unfortunately unable to correct the car in time to avoid those sand barrels, and that is a lot of damage to the front end of that number 13 machine. The hood completely missing, possible engine damage. Not the way you want to start out 600 miles. Side-by-side battle in there. Looks like the number 38, Brandon Pierce, who not necessarily a newcomer to Team Conti, but he did sign with Team Conti recently over, I think it was 2 to 3 weeks ago. And ever since then, man, he has just been on a roll of great finishes. And I think the opportunity to work with Adam Benefiel, who is an incredibly talented crew chief, knows a lot about setups. It's taken a driver that was already doing really well and already knew a thing or two, and it has elevated him to a very high level. However, Brandon Pierce has kind of had it rough this race. He's been running mid-pack, and maybe not quite where he wants to be. That's the driver I'm going to keep my eye on, because I think he's going to have the car to get up there eventually. Just a bit of a slow start. And on our 3-wide TV multi-cam, we have a caution, another car into the sand barrels. I thought I was looking at a replay of the Cody Bird incident, but then I noticed, no, this was a completely separate incident. Looks like Bryce Hoffman here, Ken.
You see some damage to the driver, the 21, his Toyota Camry, a little beaten and battered, especially on the rear end. Take a look at the replay. We'll see where the 21 machine was. This is entering turn 3 and 4, and I believe this was to go down pit road. Started on the brakes. He got hit on the way there. And then as he was going in, a bit of a meeting with the barrels. I believe the driver right in front of him also got into contact. He might have went around as well. You see Hoffman go straight for the tow option for his car. You see his car step out, go for the brakes. That's the 74 machine that gets into him. That's Brian Branham, who started 4th tonight. Gets right into the back bumper. They both go sailing. You see the 21 tried to make it through the brakes. It does not end up working out, bringing our first caution of the evening.
You know, in the movie trailer for Godzilla vs. King Kong, they said that this was one of the greatest rivalries of all time. I beg to differ. I think the greatest rivalry is Bryce Hoffman versus Pit Road. Seems to be making his way around as well. So Cody Bird continuing to make his laps, but this stage is winding down. So far, looks like no threat from behind for Bryson Hicksonbaugh. He is out to about 0.7 seconds lead. I found it interesting how this gap has kind of fluctuated between the top two. At one point, it was all the way up to 0.9 seconds, bordering on an entire second. Jonathan Delaney brought it back down to 0.6 seconds. Now, it's back up to 0.7, so it's kind of been back and forth. But we are at the 1 to go of the stage. the Our Publix chicken tender subs on sale.com, 1 to go. And after 10 cars have crossed the line for this lap's completion, the league admins will throw our stage caution. We'll officially have our stage winner and bring him up into the booth and have a word with him. It looks like, Ken, that man is going to be Bryson Hixenbaugh as he works his way out of 3 and 4, a little bit sideways. Maybe not the time to be pushing the car that much on the final lap, but 63 is going to get his stage win. Jonathan Delaney at P2 in that stage, followed by Robert Miller, Adam Benefiel, Cameron Stone 5th, Jacob Adams going to bring it home 6th, 7th is RJ Root, Chad Edwards 8th in the stage, Mason Lowry 9th, and the final driver to pick up a stage point is going to be Michael Skinner in that 00 machine.
I think there's a lot to worry about if you're the race leader right now. Jacob Adams having to deal with a pack full of race cars getting around. Remember, Adams still has not made a stop down pit road. He's gotten 60 laps on his stint. That also coincided with Bryson Hixenbaugh and Joshua Slade. Your top 3 have not decided to pit just yet. You gotta wonder whether these guys have to be saving a little bit of fuel as well. And Adams really had to deal with almost about 3 wide to the entrance of the corner. Luckily able to get by, has yet to make the signal to go down pit road. And I think this is a very interesting call here, because if you're Jacob Adams, are you looking to stay out to lead a lot of these laps? Because once the yellow comes out, the track position is going to be up in the air, mostly due to the fact that these guys pitted. They're going to have fresher tires, and you're kind of going to be on the short end of the stick. Or is Adams just trying to stay out and then get fresh tire power so that he could gather himself up to the top 3 and maybe take the race lead back?
It could just be a situation of whatever the competition does, I'm going to do the opposite, you know? Adams, he's had a fast car all night long, and he's been inside the top 10, but he has struggled to really match the pace of some of the heavy hitters like Adam Benefiel, Bryson Hixenbaugh, Jonathan Delaney. He hasn't quite been able to get around them, and he's just been a hair off pace all night long. So if he wants to get around them, if he wants to have a chance at winning this race, maybe he feels like he needs to just try something different, throw the wrench at the wall, see what happens, and that's what he's doing. He's staying out, trying to run that thing dry. I'm curious to see how long he goes, because like I said, I believe 68 laps is about where you're going to run out of fuel if you're pushing the car the whole time, and we're quickly approaching that. I mean, we are on lap 165, and he has yet to come down pit road. Bryson as well. Bryson Hixenbaugh has not come down pit road yet. I think for Bryson, it is a different situation. It's a different scenario for Bryson. For him, I think he's hoping for a caution. He wants to be able to come out on fresh tires, get that track position from staying out, and kind of get the advantage that way, because he has to do something to catch back up. After that mistake coming out of turn 4, he got into RJ Root. He kind of set himself back, but now I think he's seeing, all right, we're not getting a yellow flag. I'm going to have to come down pit road, and down pit road he goes, and that's going to be pretty costly staying out that long.
It may very well be costly for him, as Adam Benefiel is just a couple of seconds behind, so he will easily take that position away. And now it's between 9.8 seconds where Jacob Adams sits and where Adam Benefiel is on pit road. And now you hear the revs going down on the drop of the 48. A little bit of late stop, and a hit to the inside wall, a hit to the cone as well. And a pit stop entrance gone wrong for the 48 of Jacob Adams. Tried to hit the brakes at the right moment. Tried to enter in at the latest point possible to keep all of his speed. Makes that small mistake and a bit of damage to the left front of his Carvana Chevrolet Camaro. That'll indeed hand over the lead anyway to Adam Benefiel. But this is a very, very detrimental part of the pit stopping for Jacob Adams. Trying this strategy, you're going to lose all that time with that spin.
Other than the cautions, they get the cautions, of course. Those are kind of a nice a break from the action, but we haven't had too many of those, Ken. We've only had the stage cautions and 1 caution for cause, which is pretty crazy for a track like Charlotte.
It's such a long race. I think only 1 yellow is just thinking about, okay, can we have a little bit more? Hopefully I'm not in them, but nonetheless, it is, I think, to what your point says, just so hard to make this race happen if you're a race car driver, and to continue going over these long distances. Even the Coach Series, in the top level premier iRacing NASCAR Series, they don't do these lengths. They don't go 100%. much like the real-life NASCAR Cup Series does, and that's why this series has gotten its name, 100% Cup Series. This series is all about 100%, whether it's on effort, whether it's on consistency, whether it's on the action on track, whether the drivers are going 100% all the time, and of course the length of these races that are 100% identical to the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, which we're going to see tomorrow night when the Cup Series goes to the Coca-Cola 600. They're going to be doing this exact thing. They're going to be hyperactive as always through 400 laps and 600 miles. It's exactly what you're seeing right now here on the racetrack. A bit of a recap so far. The top 10, Adam Benefield continues to lead by about 3.4 seconds over the 10 of Robert Miller. Jonathan Delaney currently walks through the last step of the podium with Cameron Stone in fourth. Ryan Samuelson ending up in the top 5. His car's performing a lot better tonight. Bryson Ixabal, though, not too far. He's moved up to 6 in the running order. Just got by the 65 of Sean O'Brien Jr. Michael Skinner works for the 8th position right now with the 24 of Kevin Steele, not too far behind it. Mason Lowry in his Toyota Camry rounds out the top 10. Andre, I think for now, with about 2 laps left in the stage, it is going to be a focus on what's going to happen down pit road, what's going to be the matter there, and how that is going to pan out, which drivers are going to gain positions, which drivers are not. As Benefield will come through turn 2, he'll go to the back straight away, go 2, 3, and 4, and then he will take the R Publix Chicken Tender Subs on sale.com. 1 to go in stage number 2.
Right now, it looks like everything is going to be fairly consistent for the end of this stage. I mean, nobody's really within striking distance of Adam Benefield. The next car back is 3 seconds. You got 2 seconds of separation between Jonathan Delaney. Then you've got just about 12 seconds from Delaney all the way back to Cameron Stone. So, like you said, it's going to be all about the pit stop. Who can gain some track position? I think that's going to be the important thing there. If Robert Miller or Jonathan Delaney can get a good pit stop, which, by the way, we've seen Jonathan Delaney get some fantastic pit stops tonight, maybe get out in front of Adam Benefield somehow, use that track position to their advantage, that could be all the difference. But for right now, that's in the future, and the present is Adam Benefield crossing the line to win stage number 2 of the event here in Charlotte. So that is going to be our second stage winner, as our first stage winner, Bryson Ixenbaugh, actually managed to claw his way up to P6. Last time we talked about it.
They're riding on board, though, with second place. Nexus Esports is Robert Miller, his 10 machine. Seeing the last lap comparisons on the bottom of your screen. A little bit faster throughout the last couple of laps than Michael Skinner in comparison. So Miller is certainly keeping him there, but not going to help a little bit more as Skinner tapped the outside wall. Got to give a bit more of an advantage there for Robert Miller. I think that may be a brown pants moment for Miller if you're riding behind the leader who seems to get right in the outside wall, and that loses him a bunch of time. And now the question stands, does he have a lot of damage to his right side?
Yeah, from my perspective, it doesn't look like he got any damage from that, but I'll tell you what, he can't keep doing that. He is losing time to the cars behind at a drastic rate, and you can save the car 9 times out of 10. It'll jump out and you can catch it, but eventually you're not going to be able to catch it. It's going to get sideways enough that you cannot correct that car, and at that point he's going to be going for a ride. So he's got the track position. If he wants to keep it, he's really got to focus on keeping those tires underneath him and not getting sideways like that, because, man, that car looks like it is absolutely evil right now coming out of those corners. And, of course, right now there's contact. Robert Miller puts the bumper to the 00. Michael Skinner now moving to the bottom. They're going to be side by side. Skinner loose. More contact. Robert Miller through pit road. Hard hit to the outside wall for Michael Skinner. And Bryson is going to be the leader of the line.
And the leaders make contact. Caution waves at lap 233. And we had mentioned the issues with the 00. Him and the 10 of Robert Miller both get collected. They both made contact, and it started in turns 3 and 4. We'll take a look at the replay here and get a look at exactly what happened. You'll see it here. It was right there the incident started, but it was contact even earlier in the midst of the corners that began all of this leading up to the start-finish line. You see the contact there with Miller. Miller goes for a spin. It started right here. Contact from Miller to the back bumper of the 00. Fantastic save by Skinner, but it was not enough to get away from the outside wall. Tried to veer it left, ultimately got into Miller, and then he himself goes slamming into that dogleg section of the front straightaway. Take a look again, and Andre, I don't think this was at any point a sort of calming for either of these drivers as they go into turn 3 and 4.
No, not at all. And I really don't think the double O getting loose out of turn 4 had anything to do with that prior contact. Because that double O, he was sideways out of that corner every single time. You can see he gathered the car up right there. He was fine. And then right there, he did what he's done for the last few laps, and he just got a little bit sideways. And I said, you can do that 9 times out of 10, but there's always going to be that time where it gets away from you. And right there, it didn't work out. He had a car underneath of him. He got into a fishtail there and ultimately got into the outside wall. So slightly, but pit road has closed. So if these guys really are short on fuel, they missed their chance. Pit road is closed. We're going to have to get this thing to the end of the stage. And right now, Adam Benefiel is leading the way as he's going to be coming to the line this time for the R Publix chicken tender subs on sale.com. White flag of the stage with a 0.4-second lead over Jonathan Delaney, who, by the way, has been closing in by about a tenth every lap for the last 4 to 5 laps, just running out of time as it is the final lap. He's not quite going to get there this time, but a little bit of separation between him and second place. Adam Benefiel is going to dive it into 3 and 4. And around he goes to the start-finish line. There we go. Adam Benefiel getting his second stage win of the night. Jonathan Delaney second in this stage. Bryce Nixonbaugh third. RJ Root fourth. Robert Miller fifth. Cameron Stone sixth. Kevin Steele seventh. Sean O'Brien Jr. eighth. Mason Lowry ninth. And that final stage point, after all that battling, is going to go to Jason S. Taylor in the 37th car.
Fourth stage win for the driver of the 83 for Team Conti. Adam Benefiel gets it done at lap 300. There's the yellow flag waved by the race officials. Gain some well-needed track position. Pace car will make its left and its safety down to the pit road, and Jonathan Delaney making an early start. Restart here, lap 313. Our final stage is underway.
Away they go. Adam Benefiel clipping the grass right there. And not in a small way. I mean, he had 2 tires firmly on the lawn there, and it almost pulled him around. I could see that car get juked left. That was a very close call. Luckily, he was able to keep that under control, and he's maintaining his 3rd place position there behind Bryson, who just got a little bit loose there. 63 getting squirrely in the middle of the corner, all the way up to the wall. Think he might have scraped it there. Seems like Bryson struggling with the handling of that car right now.
He certainly is. It's not been easy. There's a couple of drivers trying to work for position. I see the 65, Sean O'Brien Jr. He works under Robert Miller for what is currently the 6th running position. Meanwhile, top 3 have spread themselves away, and here comes Adam Benefiel to the inside of turn 3. He got a lot of the run out of turn 2 as he ride on board with the WR1 Sim Chassis Ford Mustang. He's starting to creep up to the 2 Camaros up front.
He's slowly catching up, but my eyes are on the pack behind him. We are 2x2 contact. Robert Miller into the outside wall. That's going to be, oh no, the 48 involved, the 56 now into the outside wall, the 12 car piling in. Samuelson narrowly avoiding damage, I believe. This is the big one at Charlotte.
And this is the biggest crash we've had all night long. As soon as I was going to say, you said it there, Andre, this large pack, and it ultimately ends in chaos. Watch as they enter turn 1. And it was contact between Robert Miller and Sean O'Brien Jr. They collected. I think Miller was just trying to arc himself to turn 1. You see the 65 get stuck into the outside safer barrier as Robert Miller comes to a rest right behind him. Take another look at it. They were 2x2 entering the banking. You'll see the 10 come up the racetrack to try and arc himself back to turn 1. While the 65 merges a little bit low. And they both get into it as the 65 careens down the track and a bunch of other cars get collected.
And right now, I just want to point out, there is a battle brewing between RJ Root and Jason S. Taylor. These two are slip-sliding all over the track, side by side with one another. Sorry to kind of quickly switch topics there, Ken, but this battle is getting intense as the number 8 is sideways out of turn 4. He gets it corrected, no contact between them, but neither driver giving an inch. They both want that podium finishing position. Jason S. Taylor moving to the bottom, having to get off the throttle to keep that thing down there to make sure it sticks. RJ Root trying to sling it around the top as quickly as he can. Now the crossover back to the bottom. So now RJ Root trying to run the bottom. Can he make it stick? He's not quite clear, but he is drifting up. Really close as they come out of turn 4. No contact. This is gonna I'm going to need some blood pressure medication here, Ken. This is getting crazy.
And it's only getting intense in the final 7 laps of this race. You would think that throughout the entire other stint that they would be battling like this, but it is only the last laps of this race. Every position counts. Look at the crossover by Jason S. Taylor to go back to the inside. He'll take a look underneath RJ Root, and it seems as though they're both pretty equalized. Root's able to get the momentum off the top side, while Taylor holds tightly to the bottom. A bit almost contact to the outside wall. They're going to bang doors to the front straightaway. Meanwhile, Delaney gets for 6 laps to go. He'll come off turn 4 and take 5 to go, but this battle does not want to let go as Bryson Hixenbaugh joins the party.
Bryson Hixenbaugh has caught them. These drivers all 14 seconds by the leader at the 37. Contact! 3 wide. The 37 in the middle. He is not lifting. Oh my goodness. The 37 hit Bryson, then he hit RJ Root. Somehow nobody wrecking in that situation. The 37 then lifted going into the corner to prevent himself from entering in the middle of a 3-wide situation, but then immediately coming through the quad oval, he is back battling with the number 8 as he has been for the last few laps consecutively as Bryson starts to drive away from them, having cleared them a lap prior, but these guys can't get away from one another. I mean, I know it's a podium position and every point counts, but these guys have all but wrecked each other. I mean, they've basically been wrecking without wrecking since they started racing. And I gotta think, man, if one of them wrecked and then they didn't get the points for the top 5 that they are running in right now, that would be devastating. But I guess as a driver, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about right here, right now, I want that 3rd place, or I guess now 4th place position. And that's what they're focused on as they continue to battle headed into turn 3.
To say that if they're running for podium, well, they lost it completely because they let Bryson Hixenbaugh just seemingly walk away with it and say, hey guys, you guys can fight for it. I'll just get the 3rd place position, thank you very much. And he's walked away with it ever since. He's right on board with Taylor on the 3-wide TV multicam. Meanwhile, Delaney steps into 3 and 4. He'll take 2 laps to go from Charlotte, and it seemed as though Taylor has made it short. He's out of fuel as he limps to pit road.
I do not understand any of that. If you're short on fuel, I mean, focus on conserving. You know, he was battling his guts out with the number 8, giving it everything he had, all the while not having enough fuel to make it to the end. I'm just a little bit confused, but hey, he gave it a shot. Boy, did he give it a shot, and unfortunately just didn't come to fruition, as Jonathan Delaney currently is going to take our Publix Chicken Tenders on sale.com white flag of the race. And no, by the way, the Publix Chicken Tender subs.com, they're not on sale, in case anybody was wondering. But Jonathan Delaney in that number 9 car is going to come out of turn 2 for the final time down the backstretch. There's no competition from behind. Adam Benefiel, 8.6 seconds back. Bryson rallying back to 3rd, 12 seconds back. But unfortunately, time is not on Bryson's side. And in that gorgeous Michael Waltrip throwback paint scheme, courtesy of Kevin Steele, Jonathan Delaney is going to win the crown jewel at Charlotte.